This whole wheat crepe recipe is freezer friendly and perfect for making ahead. Prep your batter and the toppings the night before, cook your crepes until light and just crispy, add some decadent toppings, and get back under the covers. Hello everyone, I'm Catherine, and today I have swapped my apron for my robe because we're making crepes. And not only is this an exciting video because we're making crepes, but we're also going to do something a little different. We're going to do a little test, because if you're like me, then you wake up in the morning, you have a craving for crepes, and you want crepes immediately. And you look up some recipes, and most of them suggest to let the batter rest for at least 30 minutes. And you ignore that advice and you just make your crepes right away. Or you're more prepared than I am, and you've actually made your batter ahead of time, maybe the night before, maybe at least an hour before. It sits in your fridge, you cook your crepes, you take them back to bed. And my question is, are your crepes really that different than my crepes? Let's see. This batter I made last night, and it's been sitting in my fridge. And I made it in my blender because it's supposed to help combine the batter more evenly and introduce some air into the batter. So I'm gonna let this come back to room temperature while I whisk up a second batch. And for this one, I'm just going to whisk it in a bowl by hand, because when I'm looking for the quickest option, for some reason taking out my blender just seems like more work. I'm combining 1/2 cup whole wheat flour. You can use all-purpose flour if you prefer for a more traditional crepe. 1 tablespoon cane sugar, 1 teaspoon baking powder, a pinch of salt, and an optional 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon. Then add 2½ cups of oat milk, adding half, whisking to combine, and then adding the other half. Optionally, add in 1/2 teaspoon vanilla extract to boost up those flavors. Whisk until the batter is thin and free of lumps. So the batters are already looking a little different. The one I just made, it looks pretty good to me. It looks the way my crepe batter always looks. It's nice and thin, but there's not really any bubble action going on top. Whereas the one I made last night, look at all of these bubbles, and it's thicker, and it sort of seems like the gluten is maybe doing what gluten's supposed to do. So I'm going to use the same pan and alternate between batters, and we're gonna see what happens. So I'm using a crepe pan with a low edge, and this makes it really easy to flip the crepes, but you can use whatever non-stick pan you have. And I find the hardest thing about crepes is getting the heat right. So the pan needs to be hot enough that the crepe cooks quickly and gets a nice golden color on it. But if it's too hot, then the really thin crepe is going to burn. So it might take me a few to get into the groove, bear with me. And I'm going to add a little bit of butter to the pan just to be extra safe that the crepe doesn't stick. I scoop just under 1/2 cup of batter per crepe, but adjust the amount you use depending on the size of your pan. Mine's a 10-inch crepe pan. Pour the batter in and swirl the pan right away to encourage the batter to slide into the thin round shape of the crepe. Cook for 1 to 2 minutes until the edges start to brown and lift away from the pan. Gently slide a spatula under the crepe or lift it with your fingers and flip it over. Cook for another minute and then transfer it to a wire rack or a plate. Let's brush a tiny bit of butter on again and try batter number 2. Okay, I've made a few crepes and they're looking a little different. Are they different enough? That is the question. So while I make the rest of my crepes, I'm going to make some fillings. We're gonna fill these with some sliced banana and a warm strawberry sauce. For the strawberry sauce, add 2 cups of diced strawberries to a small pot. You can make this extra speedy using frozen berries, and make sure to keep your strawberry tops for infused water or tea. Pour in 1/4 cup water, 1 to 2 tablespoons maple syrup, and optionally 1 teaspoon lemon zest. Bring that to a boil and lower the heat to a simmer, cooking until the strawberries are soft. Combine 1 tablespoon arrowroot starch and 2 tablespoons water in a small dish, whisk until smooth, and pour it into the warmed strawberries. Stir right away and the starch will thicken those liquids and make more of a jammy sauce. Keep your sauce warm while you finish your crepes. Okay, so my crepes are done, and I have to say, they look pretty similar, but the batter that was in the fridge is definitely a little bit more of that lacy, kind of smooth, lacy texture that you want in a crepe. The edges are a little more crispy, and there's just kind of a lightness and a smoothness to it. The batter that I made just ahead of time just feels slightly denser, a little less smooth, a little less crispy, a little less lacy, but still pretty okay. So maybe the difference is in the taste. Let's see. I'd say that the fridge batter, again, just kind of tastes smoother. It's like everything's a little more combined. Like the gluten has relaxed a bit, I guess that is what they say. It tastes a little less grainy maybe, and we are making whole wheat crepes here, so you'd maybe have to try this again with white all-purpose flour. But is there a massive difference? No. But if you're really prepared and you put your batter in the fridge the night before or an hour before, you're gonna get some really nice crepes. If you're like me and you have a craving for crepes and you want them right away, you're still gonna get some pretty good crepes. So let's put some fillings in, top them with some decadent toppings, and serve them up. Oh, and you can stack any leftover crepes with a sheet of parchment or wax paper between each, slide them in a freezer-safe bag, and freeze them for another time. Whether you make this make-ahead friendly recipe ahead of time or not, our batter costs us just over $2, less than $2 without the optional vanilla. And we made 9 crepes. If we were to make this more traditional with dairy milk and at least 2 eggs, it would add about 30 cents to our cost. And with the fillings, the strawberry sauce, and bananas, we added about $5. So all in all, we have a pretty tasty, thrifty, fancy breakfast here. Click the links below for this recipe and the coconut whip and the chocolate hazelnut spread. I have a feeling you might want to see a video for that, and that's coming soon. Subscribe for a new video every Sunday at 5. And now, I'm gonna go wake Brian up with the smell of crepes. I'm just kidding. It's not morning. I have makeup on. This is like soap opera morning. Brian's been behind the camera the whole time. We'll see you for the next one. I am gonna eat it though. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Catherine, Brian's behind the camera, and we love to hear from you. So leave us a comment down below, like this video, share it with the people you love to cook with, and subscribe for a new video every Sunday at 5.